Hi everyone, this is Alan Rosinski of Metro Manhattan Office Space. Good afternoon. Now in the coming months, there's going to be a surge of sublease space hitting the market in New York City. So if you're looking for exceptionally good value for office, loft, medical, retail, or showroom space, there's going to be some very good opportunities. And these spaces, these subleases that hit the market are going to be discounted to direct deals. They're going to be considerably less. The rents will be lower than you would get if you were leasing directly from the landlord. There's going to be certain industries in particular that are going to be putting their spaces on the market because they realize they don't need to have physical offices, that working from home is going to work for those industries. And they're going to be types of businesses which already have experience with telecommuting. Many of them will be technology, media, advertising, internet companies. I'm starting to see other types of firms, more traditional firms that also can work remotely, such as law firms. I mean, a lot of lawyers are finding that they can just as effectively meet with their clients using Zoom. And then in the rare instances where they have to have an in-person meeting, so they'll rent a space on an hourly basis. So, what are the advantages of leasing a commercial space? First of all, the pricing is going to be very favorable. You're going to have a considerable savings because basically, if a company can't use their space, they're going to be motivated to discount that space deeply because every month that goes by, they're paying for something they can't use. So you're going to get very, very good economic value on a sublease. Another advantage is these spaces are already built. So being that you don't have to wait 3 months for a landlord to create architectural drawings, get permits, and build out a space, it allows you to move in much faster. Furthermore, often these spaces are furnished, the fixtures are there, the telecommunication cabling, so they're really easy for you to move in. Not only are they built, but you may not even have to get furniture or phone systems, so that's really easy. Now, on subleases, the lease term is considerably shorter than it would be on a direct deal. Many landlords want you to commit for 5 or 10 years. On a sublease, maybe you'll find something for a year and a half, 2 years. So if you're uncertain about the future, you can lease a demise space for a short term. Another advantage of a sublease is the agreement that you have with the sublessor is short. It's a couple of pages, so it's easier for your attorney to review. So those are the essential benefits of sublease, and it's kind of compelling. Now, along with the benefits of a sublease, there's disadvantages, certain risks that you're going to be taking. Now, the reality is that if a company's subleasing their space, they may not be doing as well as they originally anticipated. They may be having financial difficulty. So you got to be really careful in the event that they go into default and they're evicted from their space, you're going to lose your security deposit. So the major risk of a sublease is that you can lose your security deposit. Another disadvantage of a sublease is the remaining term on the lease is what it is. So if there's 2 years, 2 months on that sublease and you only need the space for 2 years, really can't do anything about it. If you need it for 2.5 years and the term's 2 years, 2 months, you're stuck. Now, if you were dealing directly with the landlord, there's an enormous amount of flexibility on the lease term. So that's another disadvantage of a sublease. Another disadvantage of a sublease is that you are bound by the terms and conditions of the master lease between the landlord and the sublessor. So when your attorney is reviewing the short sublease agreement and the master lease, they have to read that master lease carefully. And sometimes the leases in New York City can be 60, 70 pages. So they got to be very, very careful because you're going to be bound by the terms and conditions of that sublease. But there are some strategies, certain steps you can take to reduce your risk when you sublease commercial space. What you want to do, and this is really important, being that the major risk is that you could lose your security deposit if the master tenant goes into default and gets evicted, you want to ask the sublessor to provide their financial statements. So you'd probably want to do this once you've reached agreement on business terms, because if they're in real financial difficulty, you want to be really cautious. You may or may not want to move forward because, something like that could happen. I mean, also what your attorney can ask for is they can ask that your security deposit be placed in escrow in the event that there's a risk that the sublessor loses the space or they're in a financially difficult position. Another step which you can take is you can have your attorney ask the landlord to notify you, the subtenant, in the event the sublessor goes into default and gets behind on their rent, and give you, the sublessor, the opportunity to cure the default, to pay the back rent so you don't lose the space. Hope these suggestions have been helpful to you. If you have any questions regarding acquiring a sublease or commercial real estate in general in New York City, feel free to tweet them to me. My Twitter handle is @Metro Manhattan. And thank you for watching this video. Feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And until the next time, take care now.